Ethics and morality are present in our everyday professional life. Often it's hard to tell them apart, but both play a big role in every labor field, like when a lawyer ethically defends a client to save them from prison, but when morally that client deserves to be condemned. Ethics is prescriptive, not descriptive. Ethics teaches us what we ought to do, not what we do. We ought to treat others with kindness, compassion, respect, and so on. In other words, an ethical person practices applying virtues or character traits in making everyday decisions. Virtues are the positive traits of character that inform our ethical being. Integrity is the bedrock of virtue. Morality refers to the set of standards that enable people to live cooperatively in groups. It's what society is determined to be right and acceptable. Sometimes acting in a moral manner means individuals must sacrifice their own short-term interests to benefit society. The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. This is where General Sarov is a madman unable to see immorality in murder that seeks a challenge in hunting. Richard Connell uses a life-or-death conflict on ominous setting and a spellful tone to reveal the theme that sometimes you have to go against your morals in order to survive. Killing is never easy, but sometimes is the only way out. The primary moral or lesson of the story concerns the distinction between hunting, murder, and self-defense. Sanger Rainsford recognizes that hunting animals and killing someone in self-defense is justifiable and sometimes necessary. However, the maniacal General Sarov does not value human life and finds no distinction when it comes to taking the life of an animal or a human. The main lesson of the story is that killing can be justified in certain scenarios, but murdering cannot. In conclusion, Sarov's actions show that being civilized does not solely depend on sophistication, but rather on social and moral ethics. There is no possible way that slaughtering your own kind can be done in a polite manner, and since he descends to this often, he cannot be considered civilized.
For instance, medical ethics consist in beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice, which are not followed in the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because Henry Jekyll was morally corrupt, as he acted as an ethical and fair man, being Dr. Jekyll, and an uncivilized beast, being Mr. Hyde, or using his medical experience and knowledge for unscientific balderdash, as Dr. Leining stated, by separating an individual into two personalities to fulfill pleasure freely. Ethics and morals can stand by different priorities, like when testing chemicals and products on animals for medical and scientific research, because ethically, that's what has to be done, but morally, scientists and doctors might not feel comfortable testing on a harmless living creature. Like in The Island of Dr. Moreau, when he uses vivisection to create hybrid human-like animals as a personal challenge just because he had the power to do so. Here, it's unethical and immoral because he had no valid reason for his experiments. For a righteous person knows the needs of his beast, but the mercy of the wicked is cruelty. Proverbs 12:10. If something isn't right in the eyes of the Lord, they mustn't be right for us. Cruelty to animals is being disrespectful to God's creations. It is simply impossible for people to be moral and have ethics without God. Justice goes hand by hand in ethics, and for ethical decision-making, you must trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make straight your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. I think a Bible-based business should treat its neighbors with respect and courtesy. Proverbs 28:6 teaches, "Better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse." We must be fair as God is fair.